Hello, it's Melinda from the Great Australian Craft Show number 4. Melinda from Scrapbooking and Craft. And I just thought I'd do a little intro to show you some of the cards that we'll be making in this class. So this class is all about using oxide inks on our gel plate with some stencils and making some quick one-layer cards. So these are a few that I've made during the class. So actually this one I made before the class, but we do show you how to make the different ones. So some of these are made before the class, some of them I made in the class that were filmed, but they are the same sort of technique. So we've got distress oxides on our gel plate. Oh my god, it's been a long day. So I've only put Thinking of You, our sentiments, on 2 of our cards. This is a nice guy card, very basic but very effective as well. So we've got 2 types of stenciling in this one and our gel plated background. So we've got some more fancy ones we've been playing with on our gel plating in the background, and then embellishing with the stencils and showing you how to use the stencils in a few different ways. So this stencil we've used in a few different ways. I'm just trying to grab it. So this is the whole stencil, and then we've used the stencil in different parts. We'll also show you a technique of reverse stenciling on this one's got reverse stenciling in the background on the gel plate as well. I like to get several things out of the equipment or the stencil and stuff I'm using. So this one's actually in the class, so we do that one step by step. This purple one is step by step in the class, and the black one was one I made before. So as you can see, we've got different colors, but we've got the same sort of effect. And they look totally different. The purple looks really nice, as well as the black. So again, this one on the left with the rainbow in the background is actually made in the class. This was one of our samples. So just mixing up and changing around what we do just totally transforms a card, which is really cool. And using your stencils in a different way. This is using our rainbow stencil. So again, these rainbow ones, the ones on the left was made in the class. So this one was made actually in the class, and then this one was made as a sample before. I love the gel plate because it's a mono printing process. You get unexpected results. I've got a little bit of white stuff here, which there's a little bit of hair on my plate. And I think I know whose hair it is. I think it's a bunny hair. My daughter has 2 bunnies, and God, their hair gets everywhere, even though they don't roam around the house. I don't know. So this one's not in the class, but this is using the 2 stencils and just overlapping our stencils. So a nice guy one. I love the gel plate because it gives you this grunge, and it's also almost a surprise every time you do a gel plate print of what am I going to get this time. So these are a couple of backgrounds I'm still yet to embellish. So we've got this one was done in the class, and I love the unexpectedness or the different things, and this is unique. You'll never be able to produce exactly the same thing again on the gel plate. Yes, you can use the same stencil, you can use the same ink, but these are the blobby things will be different every time. That's why I love the gel plate. It's a bit of a surprise. So I've got to do, so this one and this one are a set. This is the positive and this is the negative of the stencil. We show you how to use as well. And then these were a couple I did before the class. Again, I love them, but look at this hair. Now this is my hair. It accidentally fell on the gel plate, and then it's made a lovely resist. So it's an interesting surprise what you get every time you use your gel plate. So without further ado, I'll take you through the actual supplies from my store we're using, and then we'll jump right into making some of these cards. I'd love to see what you make. If you do, tag us on Facebook or send us a message, and I'd love to see what you do. There'll be close-up photos of these at the end of the video, so you can see them in close-up as well. Without further ado, let's get on to the video. Hello again. Just popping on and showing you the actual products we're using for this project. You've just seen the completed cards. So in our range of stencils, we're using our stacking stencils, our dots and ovals. So they're fun to combine together. We're also using our Roman faces. That will be fun to use. We're using our rainbow stencil, and we're also using our Thinking of You chipboard. So all our cards are going to have Thinking of You theme. They're just going to be some male, some female cards that are done with oxide inks, the gel plate, and loads of fun. So without further ado, let's get into the process. Hello and welcome to the Great Australian Craft Show number 4, and I am Melinda from Scrapbooking and on our website I manufacture a lot of chipboard, primarily, plastic stencils and foam stamps. So today this class is all around doing one layer cards using our stencils, some Distress Oxides, and my favourite tool of all, I use it in everything I do, my gel plate. I must admit, confessions first, I'm not the greatest card maker. My cards are very whimsical. They're very different, a very different style than other card makers. So hope you watch and get inspired. I may also use some of these card fronts we're making for my art journaling as well. I must admit I don't send a lot of cards to people. Don't have a lot of people that appreciate handmade cards. So if you don't appreciate it, you don't get one from me. That's my rule. So the cards we're sort of going to make today is we're going to play around with a few different techniques. Now, if you don't have, it's not doing any better. We're going to play around with our face stencil. So this is one I did with my face stencil. Probably took this one a bit too far. I kept adding stuff and adding stuff. We're also going to play around with and show you how you can just use the face on its own without the Roman clock. Now, we usually have a few other designs in our range, but I'm actually quite low or very low on stencil plastic, so I can't cut any more at the moment. Hoping that's rectified by middle of August. Trying to get stencil plastic at the moment with the current COVID situation is increasingly difficult. I've had to source it from another place, and it is overseas, and getting overseas mail is painfully slow. So this is one just done with the clock face and a background. So the gel plate is great for making really quick backgrounds. And if you don't have a gel plate, I'll show you a different way to do the backgrounds. But as you'll see, it's a bit more time consuming. And I'm all about quick. I don't like spending a lot of time doing things. And I like the unpredictability of the gel plate, I'll put it that way. Each print is different. Each time we put ink on the plate and take the ink off, it's different. You get sometimes things that smudge. You get sometimes things that don't print well. We've got one here with sort of the rainbow effect. As you can see, we've got a bit of texture in the background here. And then this one's using our two-step stencil, which is like a lot of those magic eye ones. I do have sentiments to go on these as well, as we'll go into the class. This one's just using black soot, and as you can see, you're getting a lot of texture, and you would never get any of that texture and these white spots just by applying it without the gel plate. So the gel plate adds it. And these are a couple of whoopsies because apparently there was hair on my plate. So we've got these beautiful white concoctions on my plate. And I must admit, I don't clean my gel plate. You're about to see it. It's a little dirty. And it's also got some remnants of paint on it. I've cleaned most of it off this side. So this is a 5x7 gel plate. So all the stencils I'm using are available from my website, Scrapbooking.craft. You can buy gel plates in a variety of places, but my good friend from Hillbilly Scrapping usually has the 5x7 in stock, and she has the Distress Oxide ink pads in stock as well. Just trying to find the one I want to use first. And if you contact Jen, she is currently redoing her website or getting all her stock on her website. She's got a fairly large size shop with quite a few thousand products. So if you don't see on her website what you are looking for, just shoot her a message and say, I'm looking for a 5x7 gel plate, and she'll say, yes, I have one in stock. No, I don't. I can order it. She's ordering all the time from suppliers. But again, getting stuff is getting increasingly difficult. So what we're going to work on is some smooth, this is actually smooth hot press watercolor paper. It's not a very thick watercolor paper. It's probably about a 250 GSM. And it was an A4 sheet. I cut it in half and then I folded it. That's my basic card. As I said, I am a very basic card maker. I do like to have some fun making some cards. And I thought I'd show you a different way to use our stencils and a different way to look at your card making. This is a bit more artsy. And they're one layer. So I admire these cards that have all these thin little borders and stacked up pages and patterns. That's not me. I can't cut straight to save my life. I like these more whimsical ones. Okay. So we're also going to use a brayer. Just get my post-it notes out of the way. I need those at a later stage. So I think we've got everything ready. So the way I'm going to apply ink to my gel plate is, I just want to make sure I've got no just running my brayer on my scrap paper. I've also got some A4 photocopy paper, which I'll use in a moment. So I like this on an angle. Just going to run my brayer in my ink pads. These are all freshly re-inked, so they're nice and juicy. And I'm going to run it on the gel plate. So every time I do a stroke, I'm actually lifting up my brayer and then moving it down. I'm not staying in contact with the gel plate 100% of the time, because you want to get this roller, and as you can see when I flick it, this roller should be freely rolling. A roller should be freely rolling. And what I have done is put this brayer aside. This is my ink brayer, as opposed to my paint brayer, which is covered in paint. Eventually I will have an ink gel plate, but just can't afford everything at the moment. So you almost can't see that it's there, but with the oxides, you almost don't see that they're there. But trust me, you do have a layer of paint. So we're going to take our card. So we are going to print on the front side. So we're going to make sure the folded side is on our right-hand side. Basically just going to pop it in the middle of the plate. Grab a piece of A5, just photocopy paper to put on top, because we've got this exposed ink around the edge that we're actually going to get on our fingers, and we want to keep our fingers clean. So we just want to press down. I'm sorry about the table wiggling. I'm working on a trestle table and it likes to wiggle and move. Just using from about here up to about here, pressing on the gel plate. You don't want to dig into the plate. The plate is like a squishy surface. It's really hard to explain. It's like a flexible, I should have started with that. Then we'll pull our card off and see how we've got a layer of twisted citron down first. And you'll see it's got a few imperfections in it. It's got, I'll try to stay in the middle of the screen, it's got a little white dot over here. It's got a few other speckles. And it's got some more hair. That's right, we'll go with that bit of hair. Must have more hair on my plate. I don't know. If it's not human hair, it's bunny hair in this household. So this is the gelatin plate. I've just put it onto an acrylic block so it won't move around my table. But see how it's all nice and flexible? It allows you to squish your card into the ink and put stencils in it as well. So I'm just going to take the rest of that ink off. What I do is, this is my scrap bit of paper, and I'll just keep building up layers. Almost nothing come off. I'll keep building up layers on this, and I'll go in my scrap box to use one day. So we've got a layer of ink down. Now I'm going to choose a slightly different colour. The great thing about Distress Oxides is they actually layer up really nicely because they've got that nice opacity to the base of them. So if you were to do this with his normal Distress inks, the colours would muddy in together and they wouldn't sort of stack on top of each other, and you wouldn't see the layers. So we're just making some backgrounds at the moment, and then we're going to embellish them. So this is Wild Honey. So we're going to use one of our stencils. We're going to use our dot stencil from our stacking stencil range. So if I can get the right way this lines up, I will show you. Is that the right way? No, might go this way. Aha, it goes this way. So as you can see, the dots can be lined up in the middle of the ovals. So you can do two layers. You can move the dots to in between the ovals. You can just use them separately. So this is a really cool stencil. So we're going to have dots going which way? Up or down? We'll have dots going up. So we're just going to press the stencil into the ink, and it sort of grabs, which is really cool. Pick up our card again. We're going to line it up. We're going to grab our piece of scrap paper, and I'm holding the stencil and the card with one hand and rubbing with the other hand. So when I finish rubbing on this side, I'm going to hold that hand down firm and rub on the other side. I usually rub for about 30 seconds. Some people you see go over it with your brayer. I find when I'm using a stencil, I like to be tactile with my hands. I use my hands for a lot of things in art. I don't know why, but I like to. If I can apply the thing with my hands, I do. So now we've got some subtle dots. So what I'm wanting to do is make a couple of subtle backgrounds. So when we put our face stamp over the top, we're not just putting it over the top of white, it's got a bit of subtleness in there. Now, this is the reason I like the gel plate, is you sort of get 2 for 1 when you're doing prints. Now, what we've done is we've taken the ink out of the holes where it's exposed. If we remove the stencil, we still have ink on that plate that was hiding under the stencil. So we can take another card base and we'll line it up again. I'll grab this bit of paper and rub it on. Now this is going to give you the negative of the stencil. So out of the one application of ink, we are going to get 2 cards. This is why I love the gel plate, because you get so many applications and it's really, really easy to do. So as you can see there, it's really hard to see with the light yellow. I might do it in black in a minute. Oh no, you can see it. So we've got yellow in the background with white dots. That's the reverse of the stencil. So that will be fun to play with too. These cards dry really, really quickly. So we've got ink here on our stencil, and I'm just going to rub it off on our scrap paper. Just sitting it on the gel plate because then it won't run around my table. So we've left that dry a bit long, and it's going to come off, but not onto the paper. So what are we going to do next? So these two are going to be bases for our face. So if you don't have a gel plate, what you can actually do is you can apply your ink with a foam blending tool. This is going to make my table all wobble while those are drying. We'll do yellow. So if you don't have a gel plate and want to do backgrounds the traditional way, this is why I sort of don't really like card making. This is very time consuming to cover this entire page with this little roller, with this little tool. Plus I find I get dark marks, and I think people are better at blending than I am. So this is just a little Velcro pad that I'm hoping will stick on there because this one's had paint on it. So all you do is pop it in your ink pad and circular motion. It gives you a different application of being a bit heavy-handed in that top spot. This is why I don't like this particular method of making a background. There's nothing wrong with it. You can certainly do it this way. But as you can see, it's quite time-consuming to actually do the entire card. And I do apologise about the wobbling table. So you have to keep going back to your ink pad, inking up and inking up. And I've only done half the card, as opposed to I've done 2 card bases with another layer very, very quickly. So the gel plate is handy in that way, and you don't get these darker patches. Now I've got some friends that can do this and they have it all uniform all over the card, and they're fantastic at it. It's not a skill I'm good at, but once I discovered I can make my cards on the gel plate, I decided to do it that way. I was even worse with the square applicators before the round ones come out. I'd get square lines everywhere. But as you can see, this is quite time consuming. And when you can do it a quick way, why not? Gel plates are a great investment because you can do so many different things with them and use so many different medias on them. You can use paint, you can use ink, you can use paint pens, alcohol markers, pan pastels. Like, yes, we can sort of get the same effect, and I will do a face over this one, but it is quite a lot blotchier than, which one are we doing? And I also find I like the subtleness of the ink when it's braided out on this gel plate, because you're getting a really, really fine look. So it's great for doing things that are pastel or light in colour. So that's actually the same colour we've used. That's wild honey. Wild honey? Yes, it is wild honey. So it goes a lot lighter when you actually do it on the gel plate, which is loads of fun. I'll just finish off. So we can come over the top of this one and work through our stencils. That's not a problem. Let's do tone on tone, which I like to do. So just holding down our stencil, we can come over the top of this, going a bit harder. Whoops. You can tape your stencil down, but I don't tend to do that. I just usually hold it in place. I find when I put the stencils on the gel plate, they sort of stick and will stay in the same spot, which is handy. I find doing this, I will move my, just moved it again. I will move my stencil more, just because the force that I have to use to get through the holes is a lot more. And as you can see, that's a lot darker than the spots we got on the gel plate. So it depends what look you're going for. Personally, I like this. But I've also done cards in that way in the past as well. But an excuse to get my gel plate out, and I absolutely love it. So let's make some more backgrounds with the gel plate, and then we'll put that aside. We'll let these dry. It does take a bit longer to dry. Just looking at my examples, and we'll do the rainbow one and seeing what I'm up to. So I love our rainbow stencil. It is really cool and I've used it lots. So I'm just getting any residual ink off there. So I'm just going to grab purple, blue and green. We'll go this way. No, purple, blue and this one this time. So the way I did this one is I put the blue, which is Salty Ocean. I've got Wilted Violet. Maybe I didn't use the purple. I don't know what colour I used. I think I used the green. I did too. I used that and then I used this one. But let's do it in the blue. Let's do it in the purple this time. We'll go this way. So I basically put 3 colours across the bottom here in a background, and then I've added the stenciling over the top. So the gel plate is great for making backgrounds. Now I'm going to put it this way. So what I do is I like to start with my lightest colour, because then I'm not cross-contaminating my darkest colour in my lightest colour. Now if I get a little bit of this in this, it's not the end of the world, but if I get purple in this ink pad, in the Wild Honey, it's going to be a bit of a problem. So just rolling over the ink pad to pick up some ink and just rolling about 1/3 of it on. Rolling it off onto my piece of paper. As I said, my ink pads have been newly re-inked today because I have not used them for a few months, so they are nice and juicy. So this is the second third rolling over. Maybe I should put a piece of paper under here so you can see it a bit better. Is that a bit better? No, not really. You can see the muck on my gel plate. And then we put the purple on top. So you can also mix 2 colours on the gel plate as well. You don't need to actually just put the one colour on. So when I'm brayering these, I'm deliberately going over into its neighbouring colour and then going back. And isn't this texture cool? I'll just pick this up. This is on my trestle table. These bits of paper usually get glued in the back of my art journal as backgrounds and bases for things, or cut up or stamped over the top of. Nothing gets wasted in my house, so we need a clean card base. Should see off the camera I've got a mess. So we're just going to pop our card base down, pop our bit of paper over the top, just so our hands don't get really inky. I'm trying to keep my hands clean for when we come and stencil over the top. So again, just giving a good press. Probably press it for about 30 seconds. Make sure you're going all over. Give it a nice pat down. And you can see the lovely colours. I like the colour combination in this one. And just pull it off. Love this bit. Not so happy about this bit. This is what I said, gel plating is a bit of a mystery. Because you really can't see where you're putting the paint down, or putting the ink down, sometimes you get this sort of happening, which doesn't bother me. It adds to the effect. Really loving this bit. And I'm sort of loving, we've got more hair on the plate. Bunnies, it's a short hair, it's a bunny hair. My daughter has bunnies and their fur goes everywhere. These little white specks are actually specks of paint that are on my plate because it's not 100% clean. But I love the effect that it actually does, as opposed to, like when you're inking, this one's been inked with the blending tool. This one with the gel plate adds a lot more character. So let's try to do that again and not do that, because I like that colour combination. Okay, so let's start out with the yellow one. That was the yellow that I buggered up. Because when I like the green into it. Okay, so we'll do that. And gel plating is all about, it's a mono printing process. So mono printing, I'm just watching where I'm borrowing while I'm talking. Talking and actually doing is not my forte. Usually when I film videos, I'll film a video and just watch TV and just concentrate on what I'm doing and have TV on the background. I'll take that noise out and do a voiceover, which is a bit easier, but these videos or classes are real time, which just takes a different getting used to. Now I've got those colours down again, taking a card, putting it down in the middle. Do I want more purple? Do I want more yellow? Let's just stick it in the middle. So I'm grabbing this sheet of paper. So every time I put this sheet of paper down, which is my waste paper, I try to put it in a different spot just to get different looks. And because when the bit of paper gets quite muddy, I will then put it aside before it gets to mud, and then I can use it again. See how that's got an interesting pattern? That'd be fun in my art journal or on something. So lift this one up. Oh, I like that a bit better. Whoops. I love how we got the green. See how the yellow and the blue have made green? So I've actually got 4 colours. But I'm liking that with our rainbow. That'll be fun to stencil on the top of our rainbow. So let's also do some guy colours, because guy cards are really hard to do. So I decided to do black soot. That's this one I did earlier in the day. And I like this grungy one. I love how all the bits of grunge come in on the background. So these cards you could also use in your art journal. You could use them in a scrapbook page as a piece of pattern paper. So this could be a photo mat, and you could actually stick your photo. Say this is your photo. You could actually use it as a photo mat. So these don't actually have to be greeting cards as such that you send away. Gel plates come in a variety of sizes, right from 3 by 5 inch, which is about that big. They come in lots of little shapes as well, and right up to 12-inch size. So there's no reason why you couldn't do this on a 12-inch size for a background for a scrapbook page. So I like teaching a lot of technique sort of classes where you can take the basic techniques. Usually I only roll one way, so I only go up this way. It's just I've got my plate around. I usually go long ways. So I like to teach sort of techniques, and then you can take the techniques and run with them and go and make lots of different things. And I love when I see people being creative. Just need a bit of white paper. I don't particularly want to put black on that other piece of paper. So I love when people actually take my techniques that I teach and make something different with them. Especially in my classes, I don't expect everyone to follow me exactly. I can't do a class like that. I can't teach it, and I can't sit there as a student and do that. So I don't expect my students to. So feel free to interpret this any way you'd like. So this is a really cool card. So this sort of distressed look and the white dots you cannot get when you are directly inking with your blending tools. And I like it. This here is when I put the brayer down and it's got a bit more ink in it, but I do like it. I like the black ones. They're really cool. So we've got to make a couple more card bases for the techniques. Let's do that one. Okay. So we're going to make a bunch of backgrounds, and then we're going to do some direct inking over the top of them. What color am I looking for? I'm looking for blue. I'll do this one in blue. So this one I'm going to use this stencil because I like the effect that we got here. This blue is actually the reverse stenciling, and I love to reverse stencil with my stencils. It is so much fun. And it gets you a second look out of a stencil as well. I'm just going to tilt this because I'm used to working with it up and down portrait. My hand just likes to do it that way. My hand gets grumpy if it has to do it another way. So I've just laid down the blue. I'm going to, what are we going to ink on? We are going to pop our, which way do we want our dots? Do we want them going this way or that way? I like them going this way. Where'd that accent come from? It's about the 4th class I've filmed in a couple of days. So my brain is getting all snafu'd. So lay the stencil down, lay your piece of paper down or your card base down, grab a scrap bit of paper. Again, holding with one hand, rubbing on half of it. Because your cardstock or your card base is sitting on top of the stencil, it will wiggle around if you don't hold it down. That's why I'm holding it on one side and rubbing on the other side. Ooh, I like the little dots there. They are really cool. So we'll grab this off. So I've got nice blue dots. Then, so this is the positive version. It's not that one. This one's a negative. So we grab another card base and we take this off. Sometimes you can actually put your card on here and get a print. I will do that in just a second. Depends on how quickly your ink dries. Distress Oxide ink stays open or wet a bit longer than other inks. So you have that opportunity. I'll do that in a scrap of paper in a second. So there is our reverse stenciling. And I love these little bits of, I don't know what they are, like little rings around here and little drips, and sort of the ink's caught under the stencil in a different way. So no two prints are going to be exactly the same, which is what I love about gel printing, because every time you take a print off, it's like Christmas morning. You don't really know what you're going to get until you reveal it, and you're either happy with it or you're not. And if you're not happy with it, cut it up smaller, use it in a different way. What have you really wasted if, and that's not going to come off, there's not enough ink on there. There's enough ink to get on my fingers, but there's not enough ink to actually get the print. Just going to grab a baby wipe to get that blue ink off, because we do want our stencils to be clean when we come to do it. So if you do get prints that you don't like, cut them up, punch them up, use them in a different way. So I'm just cleaning this stencil with a baby wipe. And when I clean it, this ink gets pushed through the stencil, and you can make some really cool designs as well. So this is how I clean up a lot of my stencils, is I go over with a baby wipe. Even do this with paint. And you can see this one's not so much with the dots, because the ink was nearly dry. But I do like to keep, I actually have a set of stencils for my inking, and then I have a set for my paints, because I don't clean my stencils when I use paint. So these are the two that we've just done. We've done these two. So in the space of, let me just check the time, 24 minutes. Obviously I waffle a bit. We have made 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think we've done 8 backgrounds. Have we done any more? No, I think we've made 8 backgrounds. So if you were to do them all with the ink blending tool, you'd still be going. That's why I love using the gel plate. And they're also very different and unique all the time. So let's embellish some of these, because that is the fun bit. Now, to embellish them, to apply the ink, let's just pick one. What are we going to do first? Let's do one of these rainbow ones. So this is a great technique with the gel plate. If you want to make invitations or a batch of cards, yes, each one will be slightly different with the ink of where it has reacted, but you can do them really, really quickly. So this is our rainbow card. So we're going to grab our rainbow stencil. And this is a continuing stencil. So if I lined it up here and I've got this part of my card to go, once I've inked this, I can reline it up on this last row and keep going. So where's my purple ink pad? There's 2 ways you can actually ink through a stencil with the Distress Oxides. You can, I'll just put that on top because my camera doesn't like going onto white surfaces. What I found is I found these lovely brushes. Oh, they're so good. Hillbilly Scrapping sells these as well. Not sure whether she has the blending tools. She can always order them in. I find the blending tools don't get as a finer detail as the blending brushes. You can certainly use these to apply colour. You basically just ink them up like we were doing and rub through your stencil. But I find this foam doesn't get into the nooks and crannies as much as this brush. These brushes are an investment, but once you've used them, oh my God, you'll never go back to anything else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do tone on tone here like I did with this one. And because I'm putting it directly from the ink pad through the stencil and I'm not rolling it out, it's going to be a darker tone. When we get to the green, I think we might just do blue and then yellow over the top. Wasn't expecting green this time. So you can tape your stencil and your card down. I don't tend to tape things down. I'm just deciding where I want to line it up. I think I want the top ones to be whole and the bottom ones can sort of hang off the edge. So I'm going to sort of line it up with here. So what I tend to do is hold the stencil and the card with one hand. These I don't particularly like the handles on. I would prefer the handle cut off and I just grab it by its head. So you basically just tap it. Let me just see if I've got any other colour in there because I've been using this one with every colour. So I just want to tap it in and then you just want to do circular motion. And there we've got a rainbow. What I like to do is these come in a variety of sizes. So this one's sort of like a medium size. They come in a fatter head and they come in a smaller head. So this one's probably the biggest one you want to use on this delicate stencil, because what I'm doing is I'm moving that head around to get in all those little nooks and crevices. If you have a too big a brush, again, you're going to have the problem of not getting as much detail. Can you see that? We're getting beautiful detail from our inking. So I'm mainly using probably the top third of the brush and sort of maneuvering it around to get it into the nooks and crannies. The more times you ink up and the harder you press, the darker your colour will be. So if you want a really light pastel colour, just don't add a lot of pressure to your, here I'll just do it here, a lot of light pressure will give you the faintest of looks. A bit heavier pressure will actually give you obviously a darker colour. So let's move on to our blue. So to clean the brushes in between, I've got one brush I'm using with all these colours. Ideally I'm going to get a few more and keep one for sort of the bluish greenish family, keep one for the orange yellows and stuff like that. But to clean them, I'm just going onto this white bit of paper. Once no active ink's coming off, I think it's fine to go ahead and use it for the next colour. It is looking really cool. Now, we're just going to line it back up again. I'm going to twist my card up this way so I can do this. So we're going to go blue here. What I'm going to do is go over the side of the couple of purple ones just so the colours mould into each other. Just use the wiggling. So if you want to have a peep at what you're doing, keep a couple of fingers on your stencil and then you saw me do it before, lift it up. Sometimes I instinctively do stuff and forget to tell you when I'm working away. I get into the zone and then, so we're going to have to move our stencil in a minute. So be careful not to go off the end of the stencil because we don't want that hard line sitting there. So now we've got that, but we've obviously got some rainbows missing. So we're going to go a little bit more with the blue and then we're going to put some yellow on the end. So to line this up, this is obviously where our stencil stopped. We basically just grab this line here, we move this next line up. So you just move to the next line of designs. I'm sorry to line up, my head might get in the way. For anyone that hasn't done classes with me before, I actually have low vision. I'm not allowed to even drive. Big roads are mean. So sometimes to line things up, my head will come into shot or I'll slightly go out of shot. I do apologise. I try not to do it, but unfortunately to see certain things, it's the way I craft, unfortunately. Nothing I can do about my vision. I don't let it stop me from doing anything. Well, apart from stopping from driving a car. Doesn't stop me from doing whatever I want to do. So just here, we're going to go quite hard on the yellow because it is, whoops, it is quite dark. And we've got a bit of green in it, but hey, that's all right. I still like it. So there's our rainbow card. And what we've got is a sentiment to stick on these later. I've just done a generic sentiment, thinking of you. A great one to send out at the moment. It'd be great to receive a handmade card in the mail at the moment with everyone stuck home with COVID-19 and the current situation. Now, what are we going to do next? So that's our rainbow card. So you can see this is the same technique, but using a couple of different colours, it looks like a totally different card. So if you wanted to make a batch of cards, just simply change up your colours and your cards look totally different. So we've done that one. What's our next one we are going to do? Ooh, let's play with our face. We play with our face because I like playing with the face stamps. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to do one like this, which is just using the stencil in one way. I like products, and I can hear my kitchen tap dripping. That's going to bug me. I'm not sure whether you're going to pick that up in the noise of the camera. Just bear with me. I'm going to pause the video and go turn that off because that is really going to bug me. So I'm back. I quietened the tap. That would have really bugged me. Distracting. So we're going to reproduce this card. So this card, obviously this stencil is just shy of 6 inches or 15 centimeters. And our cards are, I'm not a card maker, I don't know, a quarter of an A4 sheet. So obviously it doesn't go on there 100%, but I do like it when it's sort of cut off. So you can make the decision if you want more of the face showing, more of the clock showing. I probably wouldn't have all the clock showing. We could also turn it around and do it this way. No, we're going to lose our face. So we're going to decide how much we want showing. I think we want about there. So I sort of want to center it top to bottom. So post-it notes are your friend when you are doing this. These are just from Kmart. Let's just get a couple of them out so we can use them over and over again. Post-it notes keep my fingers clean, and A, they keep my fingers clean, and B, they can mask off any area we don't want to use. This first one, we are going to use the entire stencil, so we don't have to mask off anything. But then we're going to use the stencil and mask off different things. So when you're doing this, what I suggest is do a light colour in the background, and then do an itchy lip. This is just a mess, this video. Do a contrasting colour. Actually, let's do purple. Instead of doing black again, let's do purple. Let's just be totally outrageous. So you want a nice contrasting colour so the face stands out. So I'm hoping this is Wilted Violet. I didn't have a refill for my favourite colour. I should get refills for all of my oxides. I have to go shopping at Hillbilly Scrapping again. Every time I go up to see Jen from Hillbilly Scrapping, and I team up and do shows and classes at the shows. I teach all of the classes, and we use my stencils, my chipboard, my stamps. Oh, that's beautiful. See how it's nice and contrasting? We use my stencils, my stamps, and all of her inks and paints and goodies to actually put together fantastic classes. Until COVID hit, we had some fantastic classes organised for this year. Hopefully, I'm not sure where the classes or our shows are going to run in person this year, but we hope to be back in full force in 2021. 2021. Oh, that just sounds like a years away. So what I also like to do with this stencil is go around the edge of the stencil. Obviously, I've just done the bit of the Roman clock. And as I said at the start, we do have several different designs of this stencil. The Roman clock, unfortunately, is the only one I've got left. We do have usually butterflies and flowers, cogs. There's another one. Butterflies and flowers, cogs. Maybe that's just the 3 of them. I'm just having trouble sourcing stencil plastic at the moment. Hopefully, we'll have that rectified by the middle of August. So to do these classes, I sort of picked the products I had the most of, if that makes sense, because I didn't want anyone to miss out. Speaking of the products, while I'm just continuing to go around here, basically just blending the same way we did the rainbow stencil, going through the stencil. Whoops, I just moved it slightly. So just making sure I hold down the stencil. Yes, you could tape it down. What was I saying about products? Oh, all the products that I have used in the Great Australian Craft Show. I've got 4 classes running in the classroom over the 4 days. There's 2 art journal pages, which is my love. There would have been 4 art journal pages, but I thought, no, I better not do that. There's 1 scrapbook page, and there's this one. All the products can be found in a special folder on my website called Great Australian Craft Show number 4, and they'll be on special for the 4 to 5 days of the show. Probably they'll be on special till Monday evening when I get around to taking them off. So I thought that'd be easier for you to find them. Now, if you do go on the website and you can't find it, it does unfortunately mean we've sold out. But contact me and I may be able to let you know, A, when stuff's coming back into stock, or I may be able to... I've got a little bit of stencil plastic. I may have 1 or 2 sheets. So if it's only 1 or 2 of you that request a stencil, I'll be right. But if it's 1 or 200 of you lovely ladies, I will be... wrong. Ooh, I'm liking that with a pink. Ooh, purple's my favourite colour. Loving that with the purple. That is really cool. So I do like some texture on her face as opposed to a blank like a blank piece of paper. It just adds a bit more interest, but these dots are quite subtle, and that's the reverse stenciling, like the second print we took off the gel plate. So that is one way of using the stencil. The other way I did was this one. This one is really cool, so let's do this one. What will we do this one on? We do it on, just looking at, we do it on this one. Just looking at what bases I have. I tend to do this. I'll make a bunch of backgrounds and then I'll sit here and fiddle. This is how I did all my samples this morning. I just started playing and things happened. When I designed this class, I knew what products I wanted to use, but I didn't quite know what we were doing. So these post-it notes are going to come in handy now because I'm doing this one. I only want her eye, and you can see there's a bit of a whoopsie here because I didn't use the post-it notes. Shh, don't tell anyone. I will do something with that. Because I only want the eye and the nose and the mouth, I will use post-it notes and put the post-it note over there, and then we also want to stick a post-it note down here. So I'm basically just masking off the bits that I don't want to get ink on. Okay, so now I'm going to line this up, and I want my eye in the middle, and we're going to do our eye in, what colour are we going to do our eye in? Do our eye in blue, because blue will stand out. So I'm just getting the purple out of my brush just by going on a scrap bit of paper. Usually this brush doesn't actually hold. These foam blending tools actually hold a lot of ink. You can see a lot of ink coming out of that. But these blending brushes don't actually hold a lot of ink, which is fantastic. I'm actually just going to stick an ink pad over there as well because those post-it notes just don't want to stick, apparently. You could mask off with a bit of masking tape as well, or washi tape. Use whatever you are comfortable with. If you love these blending tools and think they're fantastic in the bee's knees, use those instead of a blending brush. I'm just showing you one particular way to do things. If you have a different tool or a better tool at home, go for it. Use that. You don't have to listen to me at all. If you've done any of my classes in person, you know what I'm like. So just be fairly careful when you're doing the eye, because it can be a fragile point. And I think I am going to get something and chop these handles off because these are really starting to bug me. Again, just be careful when you're doing the mouth and the nose and the little beauty mark she's got. I think I forgot about the beauty mark last time. Okay, so just going to hold it down and flip up and see what we've got. Need a bit more on the nose. Let's see if I can get a beauty mark. Oops. Oh, that's the reason we can't get a beauty mark, is the plastic wasn't popped out when I cut this stencil. I was wondering why my ink wasn't going through. I don't know. Here's my eyesight for you. Okay, so now we've got our floating face. Not really into floating faces, so let's sort of ground her with some, I can't find my stencil. Yes, I can. Some rainbows. Because comparing this to this one, personally this one looks like it's floating in midair. By putting some of the rainbows around it, it sort of grounds it and gives it, I don't know, makes it look better. So even if you've got a stencil this big, you don't necessarily have to use it as a whole big stencil. I'm just going to use parts of it. So again, we're going to keep doing the blue. So I'm going to pick, and I like my rainbows to go off the card. So this one is touching the top of the card. This one's coming off. This one's coming off in here. So I like that your eye assumes that the design's continuing even though it's stopping. Does that make sense? I don't make a lot of sense when I craft. Visually it looks a lot better than just having rainbows stuck on your page like this. Yes, this one looks good because it's in the middle, but if we had sort of another solid one here, another solid one up here, it sort of looks a bit funny. It looks better if it's rumming off the page. So I'm deliberately going to miss the top of this rainbow and sort of not wanting to end it on where the line in the middle of the rainbow is. I know that looks a little funny, But unfortunately for the integrity of the stencil, we had to put that little line in there. Otherwise, I like stencils to last a long time, and I do prototypes to the stencils, and if they don't take to my beatings, and this one didn't until I put the line in it, I won't sell a product, because I don't want you to be disappointed with the product and use it a couple of times and it falls apart. So there's a lot of designing and testing going into these stencils, and I don't think the line in the middle actually affects it that much. So now I've got those two there. I want to sort of, this one, the next one down, I sort of want to bring in a bit further. So I sort of just want to line it up. So there. Again, you can take your post-it notes and mask off if you don't want to come down here. And it's great to actually use the post-it notes if your fingers are getting grubby. I did wash them when I went and turned the tap off. To hold your post-it notes so you're not getting grubby fingerprints on your cards. I am horrendous for getting grubby fingerprints everywhere. But my care factor for that is probably 0, so I really don't care. So again, just building up. Let's go and do these couple over here. So one in here. Let's do this one over here. And they don't have to be all the same darkness. You could do some of them lighter, some of them darker. Just be careful when you come to the edge of the stencil. You don't actually want to go off the edge of your stencil and get that hard line. So if you're new at stenciling, probably stay to the shapes in the middle because they have a bit more room between them before you actually go off the stencil. So now I'm just working out what sort of balance I want. I probably want one down here that's coming off the page. And what I'll do is I'll actually move my card around so it's more comfortable to hold. So what I'm actually going to do, because holding my stencil here is going to be hard, I want more of my stencil to hold. So I'm just going to line this up down here where I want it. Put my post-it note there so my fingers can sit on it. Where I'm grabbing the stencil with my fingers, I'm sort of grabbing it where the stencil indents are, so then I've got something to sort of grab onto, if that makes sense. Told you I don't make sense in my classes. If you've done any in person with me, you know exactly what I'm like. I'm no different when I'm filming a video. That's just me. Anyone will talk to my daughter, and that's what I am in real life, and I'm going to line it up with that stencil where I told you not to do, aren't I? Yeah? My classes, you're told the right way to do stuff, not the way I do it. No, seriously, if there's a wrong way or a difficult way to do stuff, I will do it. Because I am dreadful that way. Now it's just a matter of, I need something up here. I need half a rainbow over here, or a little bit of a rainbow over here. So it's just a matter of filling in the bits until you're happy. Everyone's happiness is different. So now do I want one? So this top corner one, I'm going to have it completely on the stencil on the top, but off the stencil on the side. So it's sort of a different level than this one over here. So I'm trying to randomize the rainbows a little bit more than the straightness of them. Now I just want a little bit of this one, just a suggestion of a suggestion of a rainbow on that bit, and we just want a little tiny bit up here. And knowing when to stop is also a learned skill, because that's hard, because I don't know when to stop sometimes. But again, they're sort of the same concept, slightly different. It's a different look if you have a lighter background with dots to a solid background. So within the few supplies of a couple of different colours of ink and a couple of stencils, you can make so many different ways of things. This one I've gone around the edge, this one I haven't. I may go around the edge eventually with it. What other things did we have to do? I'm just looking at the examples I've still got in my pile. Oh, let's do this one, because this one was an interesting one. But again, it shows you a different way you can use your stencil. What one are we going to use? We're going to have to use this one. These two are probably a bit dark. This is probably as dark as I want to do this technique with, because if you don't want this pattern in the background to detract from the eye and the person. So this is probably a bit dark. So we're going to save that one for something else. Oh, I could do it with this. I could do it with the dark one, or I could do it with this. This is what I do when I card make. I get indecisive. And if this was alive, I could ask you to make my decision. But because I decided to pre-film these because my internet is being painful, I have to be by myself. Okay, let's do it with this one. So this is the one that we actually use the blending tool with, and use the blending tool with instead of the gel plate. I can hear footsteps. My daughter's roaming around the house. I've told her I'm filming. Oh, sounds like she's in the kitchen raiding the cupboard. That'd be right. So this particular one, I decided to use this part of the Roman stencil in a different way. So I'm going to grab my post-it note, just so my sticky fingers don't get on this card. We're going to line it up. And I'm not going to do this part up here, so I'm actually going to hopefully mask that off. What colour am I going to do? We're done blue over... I haven't done blue over yellow. Blue over yellow would look rather cool. Black over yellow. I've done a black one. Green over yellow. Blue over yellow. See, I'm an indecisive card maker. When I art journal, I just pick anything and throw anything on the page. It looks good. Cards just intimidate me. They're just small. I don't like small things. So I'm actually wanting to move my post-it note down because I don't want a hard edge here. So when I'm doing the edge here, if I've got a lot of space like this, I want to make it quite dark around the edge of where the stencil is, but then I sort of want to fade it off in the distance. So just doing the face, so I'm avoiding these lines over here. So I want to turn this up and around. And do around this side. So again, going quite close to the face, quite dark, and then I'll sort of, because this is a big area here, I'll sort of fade it off. So often when I'm doing this, I'll do like the circular motion quite close to the stencil, and hitting the stencil gives you a nice abrupt line. And then I'm just going to sort of blend out to the edge. So I'm liking those colours. I'm liking the blue on the yellow. I'm wondering if I do this. What did I do on the one that I'm trying to follow? I'm actually going to do this bit here and then bring some in here. This was actually a mistake I was trying to fix, so I'm not real happy with that. Hang on just a moment. Sorry, just had to go feed the hungry teenager. Life of working from home. Okay, so I've decided to be a bit different with this one. This one was sort of a bit of an accidental stuff up, and then I liked this, but I didn't like this corner. So that's when I put them in my art journal and use them in a different way. So I'll probably go and use some of these on an art journal page. And if you want to check out that, you can like or follow my Facebook page. So I'll be being a lot more active on there in the coming weeks and hopefully months. May look at doing some sort of regular live. I'd love to commit to a certain time, certain day of the week. But I have... things that just take over my life lately, like children, hungry teenagers. She's not a teenager yet, hungry pre-tween. And sometimes life just takes over. So I'm hoping to do some sort of semi-regular thing, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm just going to add some of this Roman clock down here, which just adds to a bit. I might go and add just bits, just selecting bits of the stencil Just wanting a suggestion of the Roman clock along this side here. Just going between doing the small bit and the big bit. Like you've obviously got 3 steps of it. So this stencil, if you do purchase this stencil, you don't necessarily always have to use it as a face. You could use part of this on a steampunk layout. I'm just going to add a little bit down here. So you can sort of just keep building up until you're happy. That's what I say to people, keep going until you're happy. Everyone's level of happiness is different, but knowing when to stop is also fun. Okay. I do like how I've creeped in some here and here, but I might do it a bit more subtle. So to do it a bit more subtle, I'm just going to press really, really lightly. Do a little bit and then check. And a little bit more down here. I think I like that.
I think I need a new box.
I think who needs a new box? That's my daughter, Alexis. The bunnies. Yes, your bunnies are destructive bunnies. That means I have to go shopping again so I can get some more cardboard boxes, does it? Ooh, what sort of shopping can I do? Do you want to say hello to everyone in my class?
Hello.
That's my daughter, Alexis.
Is this live or recorded?
This is recorded. So if you do say a naughty word, I can take you off the video. This is a recorded class for Craft It Live. And then I want to do it just a little bit here. We'll have to do another live again, Alexis.
Yeah.
Alexis, that's my one. I just called a teenager, but she's a tweenie. She's not a teenager yet. We often do some live art journaling videos on our...
We've done like 3.
Yes, on our YouTube channel called Alexis and Melinda's Art Space.
And one of them was just watching.
Yes, so we must get on and do another one. This corner up here is bugging me, so I need to do something there. I also do have a YouTube channel for work, which is under our business name, Scrapbooking&Craft. So we do lots of fun stuff there. She's tapping me on the shoulder.
Mission inspiration.
Yes, you want to do a mission inspiration. Maybe at the weekend we can do that.
Yeah.
I'm doing a couple of lives for Craft Alive at the weekend. A couple of lives for Craft Alive. Not a Christmas one.
No.
Oh.
Easter one. Maybe a Halloween one.
Maybe a winter one.
Ooh, winter one.
Because we're in winter. Alexis likes to do challenges. One she likes is mission inspiration. It's like a list of things that you'd put on your page. Oh, I think I've overdone it. We'll blame the child. As I said, knowing when to stop is the hard bit. But I do like that. I like the depth that this and this gives. It's like inside and outside. So again, I do like this one better than this one. I like the blue in the background of this one, but I didn't like this because I goofed it up and I tried to fix it and it didn't work. So if I want a bit more definition, actually I want a bit more definition down here. So if you can't find the YouTube channels or our personal art journal channel, Alexis is mine, the business YouTube channel is all about classes and teaching you different things with our products. Yes, we use some of my products in our personal Alexis and Melinda's art space, but it's more about fun and we just have a laugh and fool around. Oh, I like that a bit better. If you can't find those on YouTube, just message me through Facebook and I can send you the direct links because sometimes it doesn't come up. And with YouTube, there's like 10 million channels, probably plus. I'm liking that one. Okay, what have we got to play with? Oh, we're going to do a boys one. We're going to do this just with the dots. And I think we've done just about... Oh, no, we've got... Have I got... We can do that with that one. Don't mind me for a minute. Okay. So I thought we better do some guy cards. I don't do a lot of guy stuff. I don't have many men in my life that I make stuff for. Even our 2 bunnies are females. Seriously, it's a man-free zone in our house. So I don't do a lot of male stuff, so I thought I would do a male card. So what I wanted to also show you with this one is you can use the stencils in a few different ways, and we're actually going to, if I place the dots like this, it's a bit boring. If I place them like this, they're very, what's the word I'm trying to think? very regimented. But what I'm going to do is so I put them on an angle. And what I might do is just do dots down the bottom and dots up the top. So we're going to go back to our black soot. Whoops, just get the whatever colour I was using out of there first, the blue. So I'm just wanting to do some down the bottom, and then we're going to finish off with our sentiments, with our chipboard sentiments, and then this class will be done. I need to go a bit darker. Oh, that's probably too dark. So I just want to come in from that direction and sort of come in from this direction. Oops. Something's bipping on my computer. Let me see if it's still recording. Oh, and it bipped away really quickly and I couldn't see what that said. Oh, it wasn't of vital importance. Oh, I'm using a new webcam with my camera and I've just got to make sure my laptop does not go to sleep or shut off or things bip up because the webcam stops filming and then I don't realise and half an hour later I realise and got to come back and refilm everything. Actually, I want to move some, do some more dots. Now I've got to line it up again. So the only problem about putting it on an angle is then you've got to line it up again of where you had it. Because I want to just put some more dots down here. I think it was here we had it. Here? No? I think we had it this way. Aha! So what I want to do is just line it across like this. Because our dots, actually I want to line it, just moving it across again. Not every dot has to line up, but I just want a few more across this side. So it's fun just to use your stencils in parts and pieces. You don't necessarily have to use them in a whole piece. And what I might do is grab these, and I want to be really faint. Very, very, very light-handed with this, and just put a suggestion in the background. So I'm just being ever so faint and checking because it's always easier to add more, but it's hard to take it away. It's almost impossible. So I just want to add a few more dots up here. So you could definitely go ahead and embellish these with some of your stamped images. Actually, now I've faded that up the top. I want to put this down the bottom a bit darker. Make it matchy-matchy. There we go. We're going to do around the edge of this one. I'm just going to put my post-it note on so I don't put my fingers in ink. So just doing the circular motion on the edge just to give the card an edge. I'm just going to move this around. So this class was all about looking at stencils in a different way, using a gel plate to make some quick backgrounds, and using our stencils in different ways to embellish our cards. And then we're going to end some with some sentiments. And as I said, a lot of these I might go and use in my art journal or on a scrapbook page. So I will not be putting a sentiment on all of them. It's great for the kids too. Gel plates, the kids love the gel plate. My daughter, the one that was just in here talking to me, she loves getting on the gel plate and making different things. We seriously make too many prints it would probably ever use in a lifetime. But it's just fun. Now, I've got some thinking of you quotes, something nice and generic. So I've half coloured these. So this is probably really naughty, but this is, as I said, I'm not from a stamping background. So what I did to colour these was just drag my ink pad. I left them in all one big section because it's just easier sometimes to colour them when they're all together. And just dragged my ink pad over the top. You can sort of pat it on the top. If you get little bits that aren't coated and you get more of a distressed look, that's okay as well. You can also take your blending tool if you're that way inclined and do it as well. But I found the blending tool actually doesn't get it as dark as I want it. So I want these to be really, really dark. I could also paint them with black paint, but I wanted to stay within the oxides in this class. So these are all stuck together just because it's easier to get them out of the machine. I just have to find my scissors and glue, and then where's my lid? Then we will come back and put some sentiments on and have a look at all the cards we've done. Just a moment. So I just grabbed some glue and my scissors. Just checking we are recording, and yes, we are. Sometimes I come back and start babbling and yeah, I don't hit the record button. So these are all just in a line, so you just snip them off. They're just easy to pick up out of the machine this way. And then you just trim up. And the connecting bits we've sort of put on the flatter bits, and I'm going to cut it into the thinking and then of the of and then of the U, so I can position them around my card. You could leave it. That one flew. Good catch, laptop. So you could leave them in the line, but I find positioning them around works really well. So you can sort of position them. Probably wouldn't put a sentiment on these face ones, just because I don't know where you'd put it. I think these ones look really nice as they are, without a sentiment. Even these ones, I probably wouldn't put a sentiment on because, again, where would you put it? They're sort of more decorative in their own right. But I do like the idea of putting a sentiment. This is one I made earlier on. This is why I left the gap of the rainbows. So thinking of you. Let's put thinking of you on this one and leave that dotty one. We'll put two of these on. I've got two thinking. I've got two people I've got in mind to send these to. So wouldn't it be lovely in nowadays to actually get a handmade card in the mail? That would be lovely. I did actually one the other day. I got one from one of my customers, which was a lovely surprise, and it made my day. I need a bit of a pick-me-up that day, so it certainly did that. We are losing the art of letter writing, I think. So to glue chipboard down, the best adhesive I've found is actually Helmer 450. My bottle's getting a bit dilapidated. So this is more like a gel glue than a liquid glue. So we use this in all our classes to stick on chipboard, buttons. It's more of a gel, so you've got to wait until it comes down. Mine's down to about a third of the bottle. Got to wait till it comes down to the tip. So it moves quite slowly. It's like slime. So when you're sticking chipboard on, you just want to pick sort of the fattest bits. You don't need to get it everywhere. Now, I'm going to stick this on a slant to follow the look of the because I've got the rainbows on a slant. I'm just going to put it on a slant just because I can. As you said, I'm not the best card maker in the world, but I do give it a red hot go and trying. Everyone has their own style, which is great in classes. I've taught a few online classes, and then people have taken the concept of the class and changed the page and made it their own, and I think that is fantastic. And I'd love to see if any of you do make some cards using these techniques. Definitely tag me as Scrapbooking&Craft on any Facebook posts, or message me a picture. It would be fantastic. I love to see what people create with our products. And there may be some competitions coming on our Facebook page. Depends how organised I get in the next month. That is really, really nice. And thinking of you. So thank you very much for watching. If you've watched right to the end, thank you very much with our interruptions of making some really quick and easy and different looking cards. Single layer cards as I call them. So it's lots of fun to get out a gel plate and have a play, or even play without a gel plate and make some really, really cool cards. And we've even got, well, I've made this one as well. And we've got 3 backgrounds we haven't embellished. Not sure what I'm going to do with these 2 darker ones. They are a bit dark for these sort of techniques, but I never know what I will come up with them. I just love this one. This is almost too pretty to cover up with the, I don't know whether you'll be able to see. But I will pop some photos at the end of this video with some close-ups of these so you can see them a bit better. And we've also got this one I made earlier as well. I wonder which one would my favourite be. I'm actually thinking my favourites are these 2. Thinking my favourites are these 2. What's your favourite? Let me know. So thank you very much for watching. As I said, I'll put some still photos at the end, and let me know if you make anything using this technique. I'd love to see. Thank you very much for being part of the Great Australian Craft Show number 4. And hopefully, hopefully we can be at a craft show near you in Victoria sometime in 2021. Not sure whether any of them are happening this year. It's a bit sad. I miss the craft shows. I do. The in-person craft shows. Bye for now.